UGC isn't just social proof. It's really more a powerful retention tool that builds community, drives cross-selling, and straightens customer relationships. So I think it's so much bigger and more important than most people think about or give it credit for.
And what I love about this is the cost effectiveness is incredible too. You're getting authentic, engaging content for your customers while also making them feel valued and connected. And it doesn't cost you very much money here. It's just a little bit of time. And for the listeners just getting started with UGC integration, begin with that post-purchase review and photo request, then gradually expand to more sophisticated curation and deployment. I don't want you to run off and listen to this pod and go off and try to implement everything at once. Start one by one type to two types, and start building those systems and processes, and you'll naturally get to that expansion point. Hey, what's good, dude?
Hey man, how are you?
Good, man. I was just checking out all this crazy AI action going on right now in the market.
Yeah, what are you seeing?
Dude, the video generation and the image generation stuff is really interesting, just as it just continues to get better. And all these little apps are kind of standing up out there. And, we have this commerce roundtable thing going up, and I was checking out, I can't remember, it started with an H. It was this high set or high something. It was something like that. But basically I could take an image of you, Chase, and put an image of a stage up, and AI will generate you walking on stage, or even you having a conversation on stage. And we can make you and I was thinking about kind of cool marketing ideas that we could do for people, and you'll definitely gonna see that as I'm trying to figure some of this stuff out. So
it's wild. I feel like if you're on Twitter every single day, you're seeing some crazy new AI product. That's sick. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, and if you're on social, I mean, I'm sure you're seeing this all the time on social. Every post now with image or video, you're almost thinking is it AI? Is it not AI? You're not sure. That seems to be a big thing that's happening right now.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's getting harder to tell. It was pretty easy when it first came out. It's a lot harder now.
Yeah, it's getting good. And in fact, one area that we're seeing a lot of people starting to lean into is a lot of UGC, and that's what we're talking about here today.
Amazing. Should we run it?
Yeah, let's do this in 3, 2, 1.
From the open to the click, they're the masters of the flow. Just watch your list grow and your leads turn to go. Did we retain you so far, or do we have to extend it? If you want results, you gotta send it. Yeah, you gotta send it. Yeah, you gotta send it. Yeah, you gotta send it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Send It, where we discuss everything and anything retention marketing, specifically in email and SMS marketing and e-commerce. My name is Jimmy Kim, and I'm here with my co-host,
Chase Diamond.
All right, Chase, episode 38. Today's title of today's pod, I called it 5 Tips for Leveraging UGC or User-Generated Content in Your Retention Marketing with Email and SMS. And today, we're diving into one of the most underutilized retention strategies in e-commerce, I think, which is integrating user-generated content into your email and SMS marketing. Most brands are sitting on a gold mine of customer reviews, photos, videos, and testimonials, but they're not leveraging this content strategically in their retention marketing.
Dude, that is so spot on. We're seeing brands spend thousands and thousands of dollars on professional photo shoots and copywriters, when the reality is their customers are actually creating really authentic, kind of persuasive content for free for them every single day.
And yeah, dude, that's what's fascinating with UGC, man. This often content outperforms professional content often, and in email and SMS because it feels more authentic and relatable to other customers. So today, I thought we'd do a pod here where we're going to show everyone how to kind of systematically collect, curate, and deploy UGC into their email and SMS programs to drive retention, increase repeat purchases, and of course, build that strong customer relationship. But before we dive into those tactics, I want to establish why user-generated content is so powerful for retention marketing, specifically not just acquisition, but also retention. You want to start there?
Yeah, for sure. So I'd say most brands think about UGC primarily for social proof in acquisition, kind of like you're talking about. But it's actually even more powerful, or just as powerful, I should say, for retention, because it really does reinforce purchase decisions, and it ultimately helps you build your community.
Yeah, dude, that's spot on. When an existing customer sees other customers using and loving product, it validates their own purchase decisions and encourages them to explore more of your catalog. Here are some of the things that I was thinking about. I think about UGC drives retention because one, it validates the purchase decision, and which reduces buyer remorse, which is really cool. The authentic content builds emotional connection. I think that's really big, right? Emotional connection is a huge kind of piece to retention. Customer stories are inspirational. They drive additional use cases and more purchases. Someone says, I purchased blah, and then they go, oh yeah, don't forget to get that. People will listen to that and go and purchase blah, blah, because they really want to have both those products. You're right about community, by the way. It definitely increases that brand loyalty and advocacy. And, real customer experiences provide that like product education that you can't provide the same way, because yours comes off as marketing, theirs comes off as just genuine product education, which is really cool. And the last thing I think about is social proof also encourages new product and category exploration. I think it teaches people to go look deeper onto your site and look at all your other offerings that you might have.
Yeah, dude, those are awesome. And I'd say kind of what I find particularly powerful is really how UGC kind of creates this virtuous cycle where essentially customers who see their content featured, they end up becoming more engaged and are more likely to create content themselves again.
Yeah, and it's incredibly cost effective, I guess, right? Instead of constantly creating new content, you're amplifying content your customers are already creating.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say the retention impact is, measurable as well. Brands using UGC strategically in their email and SMS and kind of their retention programs as a whole do see significantly higher kind of repeat purchase rates and customer lifetime value. So, with this kind of UGC retention advantages over traditional content that we talked about before that's kind of expensive and whatnot. So for UGC itself, there's kind of higher engagement rates due to the authenticity and kind of the relatability factor. That's number one. Number two, alongside that, there's better conversion rates because it comes from trusted peers, people that look and sound like one another.
Yeah.
There's increased time spent engaging with emails because it's more of a storytelling thing. It comes across a little bit less salesy, and kind of more personal. There's stronger emotional connections through real customer experiences, right? Again, it's like unveiling the layer where it's really showing humans on the other side and kind of showing that community like we talked about. And ultimately, right, like you're going to have lower content production costs while maintaining really great quality. It's like the holy grail. So unlike kind of the professional content that, again, as I mentioned, can kind of feel really salesy, this UGC feels like a recommendation from like a family member or a friend. Let's have it, which is really powerful for retention. And then plus, it also features customer content, which makes them feel more valuable and recognized, which drives their own retention and advocacy. And then it makes other people too want a chance to be featured, right?
Yeah, and I think the key insight is that UGC serves dual purposes. It not only drives retention among a broader customer base, but it also deepens the relationship with the customers who content you feature. That's kind of what you're saying there. So let's jump into our first strategy, because I've got 5 strategies we're going to go over as we go through our
Okay.
tips, right? So our first strategy focuses on building systematic processes for collecting and curating UGC, right? People are always asking, how do I collect it? How do I bring those in? This is crucial for most brands. They're usually generally reactive, not proactive about it. And we're going to teach you how to be proactive about it. And they generally wait for them to appear organically rather than going after it and collecting it and trying to encourage to get it. What do you see about that?
Yeah, dude, without that kind of systematic collection, you do end up with inconsistent content that doesn't align with your email and SMS strategy, right? So let's kind of start at the top, kind of with number one, proactive content request strategies, right? You do need to be proactive. You can't just be reactive. If you're reactive, it might come in tomorrow. It might not ever come in, right? So starting with this, you're going to want to do kind of some post-purchase emails that explicitly request photos and reviews. You're going to want to potentially incentivize people to actually give you that content with clear submission guidelines. And you're going to want to have regular campaigns that encourage specific types of content. So the more specific you can be, the better. And with this, you want to make sure that you're also leveraging kind of SMS follow-ups with photo submission prompts in a really easy way to upload this, and also a really easy way for you to store it on the back end. I've seen brands send out email requests asking for it and people have to reply, and then it's like, dude, you might have 100 replies and you have to go into 100 emails and you have to do into Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever you're using, your Air, etc. So make sure that you're also organizing. That's number one. Number two is kind of platform specific collection approaches. So kind of email based photo and story submission forms. So again, kind of going to that point I mentioned, maybe it's linking to like a Google form or like a type form or something where it's all being stored there. Allowing people to submit potentially even SMS. Oftentimes the content lives on their phone. So allowing them with simple kind of keyword responses or simple instructions, being able to just take a selfie or take a quick photo and then just send it via text. That's sick. You also should be monitoring social media. You know, people tagging you, people at mentioning you, people using your hashtag. You should actively be monitoring those because there's a lot of stuff that probably is there. You just probably have never seen if you've never gone to look for it. And then having kind of a review platform integration and content syndication is also super important. And then the last one I kind of want to mention here is kind of the quality curation and brand alignment. So again, you want to have some kind of content guidelines that allow you to maintain, brand standards while also allowing it to be authentic. If someone has like an old flip phone and they're trying their best to submit, if you have an older demo, it's great that you're getting the content, but unfortunately, if the quality is not good, it's just kind of wasted. So just kind of give people some feedback of the formats and the types and the style and those types of things important. Also having some kind of approval workflow that will balance speed with the quality is great. So kind of almost like a QA system internal and like how you review, audit, and vet and actually decide which lives on the website versus blog versus social, newsletter, SMS, etc., or what doesn't. Ensuring that you have the proper rights and usage. This is kind of a gray area where if you don't collect the right usage, you could get in trouble for actually using the content. Again, if people are submitting it, they're probably going to be okay. Don't use things that you find on social without people's permission, I'd say. And kind of content categorization for strategic deployment in different campaigns. I know that was a lot.
No, and I think as I heard this all, the key is making the content submission as frictionless as possible while still collecting the rights and information you need.
100%. Yeah, I'd say, we've seen brands lose kind of great content opportunities because their submissions process was too complicated. It's too many steps, too confusing, too many required things. It just basically disincentivizes people from actually completing it. Hey there, it's Chase, and I really hope you're enjoying this pod. If I can have just 30 quick seconds of your time, I'd love to invite you to our thriving, growing community for retention marketers. Jimmy and I realized that there were no centralized communities for retention marketers like yourself and myself, where we're specifically focused on email and SMS. Most of the communities out there seem to be just for founders or for execs only. And this is really why we're proud to share on this pod that we have over 350 marketers like myself and yourself and Jimmy in a closed community on Slack. And we talk all day, every day about all things email and SMS. So if you're listening to this podcast, I want to invite you to come and join us. And the best news, it's literally $1 to get started for a trial. And with that, you're going to get access to the Slack community, our weekly private newsletter where we share actionable things you can do as an email marketer. And then we also have special meetups and webinars that are specifically retention focused. And with that, you're also going to have direct access to not only myself, but Jimmy as well. So hit us up, ask us what you have, and we're going to be able to deliver you the answers. And then last but not least, you're going to get some special discounts and some other really cool perks. So this is where we're hanging out. It's the best way to come hang out with us, talk with others like us and like yourself. So you've got to come join us. And again, it's called the Ecom Email Certified Community, where you can learn more at ecomemailcertified.com or just check out the show notes for a direct link. Hope to see you there. And now we're back to the pod.
And one brand we work with, they send an SMS about 7 days after delivery that simply says, how's your new blah, 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 your new product, right? Reply with a photo, and includes a link that openly directs, opens on their mobile that they can just upload a photo to. You'd be surprised how many people actually just submit that.
Yeah, I think that works, and that's awesome because A, it's very kind of natural and conversational. And then two, because of the immediacy of the SMS, while the customer is really in that heightened phase of being super excited about their new purchase, it really capitalizes on that. So kind of diving a little bit further into some of this kind of post-purchase kind of UGC request sequences. So a few kind of tidbits of feedback. So number one, we recommend automating emails anywhere from 3 to 7 days out from the delivery, actually asking for photos and feedback. And again, you want to make sure it's off the delivery, not off the purchase, because if you're asking for feedback 3 days after, purchase, it's unlikely that they're actually going to have a product in hand. Next, you're going to want to follow up with SMS, as we've been talking about. with these really simple photo submission prompts, right? Just making it, like Jimmy talked about, just very seamless and easy and natural to almost share a text with a brand as if they're texting a friend about, hey, I got this new product, I'm digging it, check out the selfie of me in it, or whatever that might be. And then kind of some progressive requests that start simple and can kind of escalate to be kind of more detailed as you go on is reasonable. And then kind of having a seasonal campaign, encouraging kind of specific use cases or styling is great as well. And then storing that and tagging that. That way you could use that potentially in the next season. So, if you do a flash sale, maybe having it be in a flash sale folder. Or if you do something for like 4th of July, for example, maybe you could reuse some of that content next year. Maybe you'll get some new stuff, but tagging it like 4th of July and keeping it really organized. All right, so now let's talk about kind of incentivizing submissions. So we've talked about how to collect it, but how do you actually incentivize it? How do you increase the likelihood that someone's going to give you this content that you really want and need? Number one is by leveraging kind of discount codes or loyalty posts or kind of loyalty points for approved submissions. So maybe they get something if they submit at all, because you don't want people to get ticked off that they tried their best but they don't get anything. However, maybe if you actually use it or it gets approved, they get some kind of bonus. That's kind of cool. Kind of featuring customer programs with special recognition. People love seeing their name and love seeing their photo and their content kind of being featured on your socials or in your email or on your SMS. So if you do feature them, maybe give them a quick note, a quick email or text one-to-one saying, hey, Jimmy, featured your content to our community. Thanks again. That feels really good. Allowing kind of, people to compete in contests or challenges that allow you to generate specific types of content. That's kind of a cool way to do it. And then allowing people that do these types of things to be rewarded almost as like a VIP in the likelihood of getting like an early access or an exclusive offer specifically for this kind of active content contributors. And if you find people that are continuing to do this time and time again, there's this community play, right? There's kind of this community-driven approach that you could do. Maybe you invite them to a Telegram group or a Slack group or a WhatsApp group, right? And then other types of things is you can run a hashtag campaign that allows it to be really easy for you to collect content on hashtag, if it was for our company, EEM or something, or hashtag send it for our podcast if you listen to our podcast. And then using customer story campaigns that encourage kind of detailed testimonials, real stories, tangible stories, kind of things that aren't just, hey, great product, Jimmy. Love your product, Chase. You want something more that you can work with. Collecting things like unboxing and kind of first use experience requests. That's a cool one. And then, having long-term usage and kind of documenting the results.
No, that's great. That's a pretty straightforward, like step-by-step setup. So you want to make sure you have the post UGC, you want to
Yeah.
incentivize them with something, obviously being careful, and then try to add a community layer to it. And that's probably the 1-2 punch when it comes to collecting it. And of course, SMS is always particularly very good right now with UGC collection because it's easy to get that, ask for people to just respond back versus like that typical review email that you might see in the market. But I think
Yeah.
the key based around what you said was really around timing and these requests when customers are more likely being engaged and satisfied with that product. And, I've always heard this, but the optimal window is somewhere around 3 to 10 days after delivery when the excitement is still fresh and they've actually had time to use it. That seems like that's when it works best. All right. I want to go into the second strategy here, which focuses on systematically integrating customer reviews into your email and SMS for maximum retention. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think reviews, as we kind of have been talking about and alluding to, are probably the most underutilized form of UGC in email, period. Most brands are collecting reviews, but never actually strategically use them to drive additional or kind of repeat purchases.
Yeah, you're right about that. Reviews aren't just for product pages. They're incredibly powerful content for your retention when used correctly. I mean, here's 3 things that I think about. First, I think about like the strategic review placement and timing. So, having relevant product reviews in your product recommendation. So like the right product with the right review, like simple, right? You also think about how to reinforce those decisions by even post purchase, I think is really important saying like, hey, you bought this pen, like, here's people who are so happy with pen, almost like building that excitement to get them going. And then, and those reviews, obviously, some of those talking about multiple products are great for like cross sell expansion and so forth, right? And last really is like the ability to use those reviews for educational or how to content. I mean, those are all great ways to place it, right? When you think about curation of this stuff, I think a lot of people get stuck here on the curation side of things. One, like the biggest thing that's annoying right now is you've got to select reviews that are addressing common objections and concerns. So you've got to almost go in there and read a bunch of them. With AI these days, you can probably load them up and start getting some general output, but you really want to have that real authentic review. So it's a little bit of a balance of playing with them. And that allows you to highlight those reviews and like demonstrate not only unexpected use cases, but like those benefits that you're trying to highlight, but letting someone else say it, because sometimes they need to hear it in a non-marketing sense, right? And of course, you want to use these reviews that are going to, share specific results or measurable outcomes, things that are like very specific or scientific. People love that when you're going through it. And last, I really think about of really around reviews is like there's so many different formats that are available now. You've got your text, you've got your video, you've got your audio, you've got all these different things. So you want to make sure that you're pulling the right type of reviews and you're really pulling just like the real quotes out of those reviews when possible to accent them, because really people don't have time to read these long things or listen to long videos. You really just want to focus on the core of what it is, and having that perfect combination of visual and written testimonial is probably the key to what I see in a good review. Hey, okay, I'm disrupting the pod for just a quick 60-second break and a quick little shout out to our title sponsors of the podcast, OmniSend. Okay, for those that don't know, OmniSend is an all-in-one email and SMS marketing automation platform specifically designed for e-commerce brands. They make it super easy to engage with customers, drive repeat sales, and create those seamless personal experiences we're always talking about. Here's 3 things I love about OmniSend. First and foremost, they're trusted by over 125,000 e-commerce merchants worldwide that absolutely love them. With a 4.8 rating star with over 6,000 reviews on the Shopify App Store, it's an obvious choice for your email, SMS, and push needs. Secondly, I love great customer support. And OmniSend, they're absolutely nailing it. They're responsive, their help docs are great, and their team is absolutely fantastic. And third, they have great features and better pricing. Pricing matters just as much as features, and OmniSend, you're going to get both of those. And they have all the features you need for your store, and their pricing is absolutely fantastic. In fact, recently I just heard a story about 2 community members that made the switch. One reduced his price from $8,500 to $3,500, which is huge, but even bigger, that $3,500 included SMS, which is absolutely wild. Then another agency I just recently talked to, they just switched their entire client base over, and he's been saving his clients anywhere from 30 to 60% off their bill, which is allowing them to take that money and reinvest it on the top of the funnel so they can make more ads and make more money. OmniSend nails these 3 things that I care most about: great support, great features, and fair pricing. Plus, I just helped Chase make the move to OmniSend with his own personal email list, and their migration was super easy. They even have a team to help you support you, and they have a great automated tool to bring your contacts right over. So if you're looking to take your email marketing to the next level, I highly recommend checking out OmniSend. They got the tools, the automation, the expertise to help your brands grow and thrive. Head over to omnisend.com/send it to learn more and start scaling your customer engagement today. Now let them know Chase and Jimmy sent you. Now let's get back to the pod.
Yeah, that's right. And I'd say what's powerful about kind of this review integration is that you can match reviews to specific customer segments and concerns. And it's like you're being proactive in terms of answering people's questions and showing them kind of the proof is in the pudding before they actually even have that kind of concern.
Yeah, right on. And a new customer might see reviews focused on ease of use, while like a repeat customer might see reviews about an advanced feature or a crazy use case or long-term satisfaction that comes into place.
Yeah, and I'd say like one place that I think reviews work particularly well, they're in cross-sell and upsell campaigns because they provide that third-party validation for product recommendations. So I think this is really low-hanging fruit that, majority of people could prove upon. So kind of to give some specific tips here. So I'd say kind of in terms of product recommendation enhancement, I would include kind of 2 to 3 relevant reviews with each recommended product that you provide. And then using these reviews, you want to explain why products are actually being recommended. If you give the rationale behind it, it really helps answer the why, and it gives people the reason. And then when you feature kind of the reviews that address things like sizing, quality, compatibility concerns, again, you're kind of constantly checking those tick boxes in people's heads of like, all right, this makes sense. Like I could see the value here, I could see the why, I could see how this could fit into my life cycle. And then highlight reviews from customers with similar purchase history. So for someone that's never purchased from you, highlighting first time buyer reviews is great for showing them kind of how close they are to that resolution, how close they are to that solution. And then for first time buyers, showing them kind of the second time purchase and the repeat buyers. That's a great way to kind of string people along. And then the second part is kind of this educational content integration. So you're going to want to use reviews to kind of supplement how-to and tutorial type content. Again, that type of content is great. That's really the brand saying, hey, here is what we think. Whereas the review is not just here's what we think, it's here's actually what others think and agree with as well. And then when you feature these reviews that kind of share creative use case and applications, it makes it more fun and it makes it more engaging. It makes it um, just go above and beyond kind of the status quo. And then I'd say two more points here would be like including reviews and kind of product comparison and selection guides is great because your product isn't the only one that people are actually comparing. And then also with your own products, there's oftentimes potentially two competing or two similar enough things that people need to understand like, well, what if I buy this one versus that one? I'm in the market right now for looking at cars, and a lot of cars have like this version versus this version, and they're very comparable. And a lot of times it's very overwhelming and confusing if they don't do a good comparison to be like, well, what am I getting from the more money, right? Is it bigger? Does it have more trunk size? Does it have more horsepower? Like, what is it? And if it's not clear, I'm just like, all right, this is too confusing. You move on. And the same is with these types of products as well. And then the last thing is kind of retention campaign reinforcement. So what you need to do here is you want to include reviews in your win back campaigns to rebuild confidence. So when you want to win people back, you want to basically say, hey, here's what you've been missing. Here's what we've been up to. Here's what current customers are saying and loving and feeling. And that helps people kind of feel that a little bit of that FOMO. And then using kind of reviews also in your loyalty program communications helps reinforce the value. And then featuring reviews in milestones and anniversary type emails is great. So essentially, right, like every single type of campaign, automation, etc., could use a different type of review depending on the use case. So, let's not forget that with this all as well, I've been talking a lot about email. This also works in SMS. SMS is going to be great for people to share kind of quick wins, quick highlights, quick reviews, or even potentially star ratings for these more kind of time sensitive things. And then both email and SMS is a great way to drive back traffic to kind of full review collections on your website for customers who want kind of that more detailed feedback.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And the key is to treating those reviews as content assets that can be repurposed across multiple campaign types rather than just displaying them on a product page. I think that's like really the key is like, how can you use these reviews for more than just your PDP? And I think that's the key takeaway from this one. All right, let's move to the third one because the third one centers around leveraging like the visual UGC, customer photos and videos for storytelling and emotional connection and retention strategies. Visual content can be incredibly powerful for retention because it shows real customers actually using and enjoying products in their environment. What do you think about this? I mean, I know you really have a lot of thoughts around this.
Yeah, I'd say like, it's definitely much more relatable than kind of professional product photography because customers can see themselves in those real world scenarios. And actually kind of going back to the beginning, it's really interesting to see, right? You have like the really professional product photography, which is expensive and slow. You have the customer UGC, and then you talked about the AI stuff. Like, I think more of the world is going to be this UGC as a primary, the AI photo kind of professional stuff as a secondary. And I think the really professional high-end stuff I think it's going to be a thing of the past pretty soon, so it should be interesting. But all right, let's dive into this, right? So, number one, so customer lifestyle integration and inspiration. So, what you want to do here is you want to feature products and kind of photos that show the products integrated into real customer lifestyle styles, right? Making your product really tangible and showing kind of the use cases in use really helps sell it, right? So if it's apparel, I think like Built or let's call it Viore, I think they do a great job at selling kind of the real lifestyle of like you can see yourself at the beach, you can see yourself in the gym, you can see yourself in these everyday situations, looking and feeling your best in their clothing. And then here too, right? You want to create style guides and inspiration galleries using these customer photos. So again, people can just visualize it. It really is powerful when people could see someone that looks like them um, in what you are promoting because it feels, or using what you're promoting because it feels very tangible. It feels like it's already yours and you really need and want that type of product or potentially service. Even showing kind of things like seasonal usage and styling from actual customers is great. And then making sure that you're highlighting kind of diverse customer demographics and use cases as well. You shouldn't use the same type of customer every single time, the same avatar, unless that is only your avatar, right? You shouldn't use, a woman that's maybe 18 years old, that's of a specific ethnicity every single time, unless that's your only avatar. You might want to show women that are 25, 40, 60, whatever your avatar is, of different types of, you know, genders, whatever, ethnicities, etc., whatever it is to be inclusive. You don't want to ever be exclusive. And then you want to also show the before and after and transformation storytelling. So, the whole before and after this transformation, that plays into copywriting, that plays into psychology. People love this type of stuff, right? Everyone from supplements to,
Yeah.
you name it, could have a use case here um, for it, right? It could be skincare, it could be health and wellness, it could be maybe even a new mattress, right? The before and after could be lack of sleep, your back is hurting, and then after, right, is quality sleep, never felt so great, etc. So when you can document kind of the customer journey and the progression over time, and you can show that with strong visual evidence of the transformation, this is so powerful. And when you create these kind of compelling before and after sequences for these relevant product categories, it's great. So I would do this for all the main categories and even your best sellers. I would focus on documenting as many of these as possible because this also is going to work top of funnel as well. This is going to be great for your ads. It's going to be great for, whatever, influencer content, affiliate content, etc. And then the last one here is kind of allowing people to really visually understand the community and how they can fit in so that ultimately they feel that sense of belonging. People always want to connect and feel like they belong. So by doing this, you can feature kind of customers in social settings using products, showcasing kind of some really cool, fun, creative, and personalized ways in which customers are actually utilizing or taking advantage of your product. Creating kind of these visual narratives, maybe telling the story behind how Jimmy is using X, Y, and Z because you've collected that type of thing. And then highlighting any kind of community events and customer gatherings is great as well. Hey, it's Chase, taking just 30 seconds of your time because I found something game changing for e commerce marketers and agencies. If you happen to be drowning in retention marketing tasks, we have a solution for you. It's AI. There's an AI strategist, AI segmentation, AI email builder. It's called Raylion, and this is the platform that helps marketers like myself and yourself create everything from emails to custom segmentation based on your data and your email marketing strategy. I mean, imagine getting everything from an audit to campaign planning in just a handful of clicks and in under 5 minutes. Their AI handles everything from segmentation to strategy and creating on-brand copy that actually converts. Brands using Raylion save about 50% of their retention marketing time and see an average of 3x ROI. Yes, you're going to save time and make more money. Talk about a no-brainer. And this is really why brands like Coast, Ginger Milk, and LifePro trust them and really utilize them and start recommending them to everyone. So head to Raylion.io, that's RALEON.io, for a 3-month email AI segmentation playbook in just 60 seconds. Yes, it's 100% free to try, and this will be the best 5 minutes you spend today, I promise. Raylion.io, let them know that myself and Jimmy sent you, and we're now back to the pod.
No, these are great. When I think about visual UGC, what the big glaring thing that comes out to me is that it tells a complete story without requiring a customer to read like lengthy testimonials.
Yeah, exactly. A photo really can convey kind of the lifestyle aspiration, product quality, and social proof all at once. And it goes back to that quote, right? Like a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can say a lot without really saying anything at all.
And you know, and a brand that comes immediately to mind when I think about it is Glossier. They've mastered this by featuring customer selfies and makeups in their emails and making every customer feel like they're the next featured person. There's also an athletic brand that I follow called Outdoor Voices, and they use customer workout and lifestyle photos to reinforce their brand identity while showing real product usage. In fact, when I think about this, and you know, I was kind of thinking about your things, it comes down to like three things that I can think of that really comes into place. One, it's like, how do you take the customers and spotlight them and feature campaigns that could be monthly or weekly? It can be behind the scenes. It could be customers creatively using it, whatever it might be, or even like a community driven event. Like that's one way I've seen it. The seasonal occasion based showcases are also very great. I think that holiday styling and gift giving inspiration for customers is really a strong way to think about it, especially if you're coming into Black Friday this year. Seasonal usage of a product is for like Halloween or like Easter or one of these like really like seasonal type environments. Using that UGC is really powerful because it almost builds that real time like, hey, that's what it might look like at my place, right? And also like travel stuff. I love travel and adventure documentation, especially when you see it on like, you know, videos and people engulfing it into their typical UGC. And the last thing I like, and you know, what's more often seen this in this market these days is really like the product demonstration and education UGC. And what I'm talking about is like customers will literally post how to or step-by-step videos and photos of how to use this product. They might also have applications of like creative or unexpected use cases people are using, and product comparison, right? Like I see this often on in social media. You'll see that people are like, well, I use this product. Now I've got this product. Here's why I like it, or here's what I think about it as far as it. And then even like the long term, I think the key to longevity and teaching people that things are working or worthwhile in their investment is showing that long tail or aging documentation that comes into place. And well, all of that is great for email, right? It's great for visual UGC because you can put multiple photos to create this like rich, engaging layout that you can put out there. But of course, SMS is just as effective because it's sharing a single standpoint image. Or what I've seen people do is they'll take that like 4 or 5 images and make a quick flashing like GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it to drive more people to kind of click on. I've seen a lot of those different plays that we've seen, but the key is getting better, is not only getting proper permission, but the right to use these customer photos, which includes, should be built into your collection process from the beginning.
Yeah, 100% always recommend having clear terms and getting explicit permission before featuring any of this customer content. And again, making sure you have proper attribution when possible, tagging people, linking to them, giving them that clear credit is super important.
Yeah. All right. Let's just move to our fourth strategy because we've been going through it. So the fourth strategy focus on UGC to drive product discovery and cross-selling amongst existing customers. Okay. Now I say existing customers because this is powerful because UGC naturally shows how products works together, introduces customers to items that they might not have considered. This is really a hack, right? If you think about how to get more effective than traditional cross-selling, because it shows real customers using multiple products together and putting it down there. So here's kind of what I think about, right? I think about product combinations and styling inspirations, like putting customers' photos together, multiple products styled together, like a look campaign or unexpected product campaigns that are creative that customers are showing off. Look for those in your UGC. That's one thing. Also, I feel that a lot of this cross stuff can create category expansion. You know, a lot of companies will have their hero products selling 3, 4 products at once, but you might sell a bunch of other stuff that goes with it. Using customer photos can allow you to introduce like new product categories without even introducing them, because people are kind of just like looking and checking out things and seeing those. And in fact, this works really well with like the seasonal or occasion based stuff, because that's where those use cases kind of come out into place. And it gets people going. And then, of course, the last thing that I've seen in the market that's been really good is like that problem solving and solution discovery. I think that's something people have. Like sometimes customers have a specific problem with a product combination that is solved for them. Like a supplement company say, oh, I use this product with this product to help me do this. That do this part of the problem, maybe what your people are looking for. So if you can bring those two products together to show them that these two products did it and know they might have only purchased this one product to be able to see two, it's something that you can see. You know, you can also feature, you know, unique situations that you have or advice that you've seen from customers. There's so many ways, but really just look for those unique ones, not the ones that just say great product or fast shipping, but the ones that people stood out of their way to go kind of load it in and tell you that seeing these things. That's where the gold is hidden ultimately.
Yeah, dude, I'd say what's brilliant kind of about this approach is that customers are essentially doing your cross-selling for you by really showing these natural product combinations.
Dude, that's spot on. And instead of guessing what products work well together, you've already proven combinations that real customers are almost basically have validated for you.
Which is ultimately what you want. So I'd say home and lifestyle brands are actually really good at this, showing customer room
Mm.
setups or outfit combinations that suggest additional purchases that you may or may not have actually thought of. So elaborating on that. The first thing I'd say is like completing the look and kind of solution showcases is money. This is a really good one. So the way in which you want to do this is you want to feature customer photos with kind of shop this look or recreate this setup type CTAs. Creating kind of product bundles based on popular combinations, right? Instead of just recommending this shirt and these shorts or, these socks, just offer them as a bundle and give people obviously a little bit of customization around colors and maybe they want to interchange some stuff, but bundling things together is great. Highlighting kind of customer collections and curated selections is another cool one. Imagine, right, if you submit something like this and then you could go on and be like, hey, shop Jimmy's curation, right? That's kind of cool, right? And be able to tag you and reference you. And even cooler if like you have celebrities or influencers and you can do that type of thing with their permission. That's super cool. And then the next one would be kind of progressive purchase journey highlighting. So essentially what this means is really featuring customers who've built collections over time. And maybe they don't buy everything all at once, but they build up to it. And this kind of shows how like your initial purchases can lead to product usage kind of expansion. That's kind of cool and fun. It's almost like your company is like the building blocks and they keep adding and kind of collecting more and more blocks or more Legos. And Legos are trendy right now. Let's call it that. Um, Highlighting customer loyalty journey as a brand relationship evolution and creating kind of this customer journey email series featuring multiple purchase stories. That's really cool. Like imagine following Jimmy as he goes from one item to three to 10, and maybe he's at 30 now. Like for a company called Built, I probably own 40 things from them, right? Imagine documenting all of that. That's like a really cool thing. And now my whole wardrobe is built and kind of showing that evolution. It's like kind of as like, I can have my whole wardrobe be built too type of a thing. And then the last one would be kind of the seasonal and occasion-based expansion. So you might want to feature customer adaptations for different seasons and events. Maybe in the summer for the beach, right? Or maybe it's for concert season or award season, what have you. Showcasing holidays and kind of special occasions on how customers are using your products in unique or fun ways, and really highlighting travel and activity specific, right? Especially in the summer months. One cool thing I think a lot, like with the rise of obviously TikTok and YouTube Shorts and IG Reels, a lot of people are making this type of content on those platforms. You just might not know it, and getting like that really really rich video content that you can link out to, and embed and integrate on your website. That's really cool. And then again, with all this, I keep talking about email. I know I'm an email guy. You're an email guy first and foremost, but don't forget SMS. SMS is going to be super important for the collection here, for cross sells, for time sensitive things, etc. And then also the last thing I want to note is if a customer submits a photo wearing one item, send them an SMS highlighting how other customers have highlighted kind of that same item to be able to upsell or cross sell them more things that pair well with it.
I haven't even thought about that. Using the photo submission as a trigger to send them more and start
Mhm.
cross selling them. I mean, that would feel very personalized. I'm not sure exactly how you do that. I guess it would be categorized based around what they purchased, and then shoot them a message automatically. I mean, when review is submitted, then automatically follow them up with a message, for example. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the key here is making the suggestions feel helpful and inspirational rather than salesy, which I think UGC does a good job naturally accomplishing. This kind of leads me to the last and final strategy, because on automating this UGC deployment while maintaining a personalization relevance for an individual customer is kind of hard, right? This is like super crucial when you're trying to scale your UGC program, because this is a manual selection often, deploying content to every email and SMS quickly becomes unmanageable, but automations need to be strategic. And if you want to maintain that authentic personal feel with UGC while delivering an efficient, relevant content to the same customer, I've got some thoughts around that. Let me kind of tell you what the three things I see. So the number one I think I see is you got to have smart content messaging and deployment. What I mean by that is you've got to have the content already matched to the different segments up front so that you know where it's going. You can't kind of do it on the fly, and you can dynamically insert those based on like, did they purchase a single product or this product or that product or some browsing behavior, but it can be a little tough there. And of course, you want to make sure you're kind of thinking about how to personalize that recommendation engine based on like demographic or featured content by recently viewed or popular products or whatever it might be. Finding that ultimate personalization point and creating that personalized feed inspiration is kind of tough when you're thinking about it again, unless you can kind of understand where you can kind of place them. So that all leads to kind of the trigger based deployment. Like at the end of the day, automations and things that are available today are always going to be trigger based. And if you want to have that, you've got to have automatic UGC inclusion in standard email flows. Like, how do I get those involved in there? And those should be deployed based on some type of relevant product viewed, looked at this category, then I'm going to send these UGC. If I look at this category, then this one. Or even at the milestone and anniversary automations are perfect for relevant customer stories, like long-term stories. And then, of course, even win-backs. Like, I feel like UGC comes in great win-back and re-engagement sequences because it's like, hey, you've already purchased before. Here's some reasons why people love coming back and buying it. Here's some UGC that people have. And again, I think the key here is creating a system that feels personal and relevant, even though they're going to be automated, because it's literally impossible to manually put this together without automating it somewhere. So you've got to get a little bit generalized, but start continuing to focus on getting irrelevant. And customers should never feel like they're getting random or irrelevant UGC because you're just trying to include them everywhere.
Yeah, just don't like stuff it just to stuff it. You need to have a
Yeah,
strategy,
you
right?
got to be personal about it and think about it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say like we've seen brands create kind of this really sophisticated tagging categorization systems that do allow for this kind of really relevant UGC deployment. I'd say kind of three kind of quick items that come to mind for me when I think about kind of this personalization and deployment that really is strategic and not just stuffing it just to stuff it. I'd say the first starts with kind of content tagging and categorization systems. So you want to tag UGC by product, customer type, use case, and emotional tone. That is really important. I don't think a lot of people do that.
No.
The next is kind of creating seasonal and occasion-based content categories. So that way you can kind of deploy it as it makes sense and as it's relevant. And if you could also do this based off demographic and psychographic content classifications, that's even one step further. And again, this is a little bit more advanced, but if you can get here, this would be amazing. And then also building quality and performance scoring for content optimization. That's the first bucket. The next would then be leveraging kind of dynamic email and SMS content systems. So if you could have like real-time UGC insertion based on the customer segment and the email type, that is the holy grail. I mean, you're going to want to A/B test this type of thing, kind of different types of UGC for different types of customer groups, just to make sure that the logic that you have actually is resonating in practice. And if you can leverage kind of personalized UGC galleries and inspiration sections, that's awesome. And then the last one would be performance tracking, right? So with all of this, you need to track it so you can optimize. So you want to monitor different engagement rates for different types of UGC. You want to kind of track the conversion impact of this UGC emails versus kind of more standard content. And then measuring kind of satisfaction and feedback, and then seeing how you can leverage optimizations to keep iterating and improving it. So, with this, leverage email, leverage SMS, and automatically sending a customer photo from someone similar when they browse a product category or an abandoned cart. Your conversion rates are going to thank you, and your wallet's going to thank you if you can get to this point.
And that's right. And the goal of making UGC feel natural and helpful rather than forced and promotional is really the key. And you've got to track performance to allow you to continuously improve that. So, and figure out where automation rules and context selections are working ultimately. All right. Let's wrap this thing up, man. Let's summarize the key strategies for integrating user-generated content into email and SMS marketing. What do you think the most important takeaway for you is, Chase, so far?
Oh man, there's a lot. I'd say The most important takeaway is that I think UGC isn't just social proof. It's really more a powerful retention tool that builds community, drives cross-selling, and straightens customer relationships. So I think it's so much bigger and more important than most people think about or give it credit for.
No, I think that's spot on. And when done strategically, UGC can transform your retention marketing from promotional broadcasts to authentic community communications. You can nail it all. So here's what we talked about just as a TLDR recap. So one, build systematic processes for UGC content and curation rather than relying on organic content, right? Instead of searching for it, be proactive, not reactive. Integrate those customer reviews throughout your email and SMS. That's an obvious here. You want to use visual UGC for storytelling and emotional connection in your retention communication. So for your existing customers, ultimately. And in those existing customers, you also want to leverage that UGC to drive product discovery and natural cross-selling opportunities. You also want to build community and recognition through strategic customers by featuring their highlights or the UGC and of course their celebrations. You also had the automate UGC while maintaining personalization, super important. But last but not least, you also want to track performance and optimize content for maximum retention impact ultimately. I think I got everything right.
Yeah, you nailed it. And then I'd say remember that kind of featuring customer content creates this kind of virtuous cycle. Customers love being recognized. They love seeing their name. They love seeing themselves. And that's going to increase loyalty and really encourage more creation for themselves. And also, it's going to light the fire for others to get involved and get kind of on the train.
And what I love about this is the cost effectiveness is incredible too. You're getting authentic, engaging content for your customers while also making them feel valued and connected. And it doesn't cost you very much money here. It's just a little bit of time. And for the listeners just getting started with UGC integration, begin with that post-purchase review and photo request, then gradually expand to more sophisticated curation and deployment. I don't want you to run off and like listen to this pod and like go off and try to implement everything at once. Start one by one types to two types, and start building those systems and processes, and you'll naturally get to that expansion point.
Yeah, dude, you nailed it. The key is treating this UGC as a strategic retention asset rather than just the occasional social proof content.
Yep. And with that, that is a wrap here. Episode 38, 5 tips for leveraging UGC content in your retention marketing with email and SMS. Listen, guys, if you enjoyed this pod and you enjoyed nerding out with us today, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and of course, in the comments section of whatever you're listening to, hopefully YouTube. If you're not, if you're on YouTube, IG, or wherever you're watching this, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. And of course, if you want to connect with us, there's a few ways to connect with us. Number one, if you made it to the end and you must really love retention here, we've got a newsletter called Ecom Email Marketer. We drop a newsletter every single day about retention marketing. Come subscribe, come join us. We also have a certification and community available. If you are new to this and you want to get certified, we've got a great 5-hour program that you can get certified on. If you already know what you're doing and you want to join an active, thriving community where you can talk and discuss with myself and Chase, come join us at Ecom Email Certified. Again, both links are in the show description below. And of course, you can follow us on social media. Chase, where can they find you?
Most platforms, Chase, no A and Diamond.
Yep, and you can find me mostly on LinkedIn and X today. All right, next week we're back with episode 39. We're going to go kind of dive into unique channels because retention is not just email and SMS. I know we quarterly talk about it. We talked about direct mail last week. We're going to continue talking about some unique channels, push notification, calendar notifications, share a friend. I'm going to try to bring like 4 or 5 different unique channels for retention that people don't do enough of. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it next week on the pod. Chase, thanks for being here as always. We'll see you guys on the next week. See you later. Ta-ta.
Cheers.
From the open to the click, they're the masters of the flow. Just watch your list grow and your leads turn to gold. Did we retain you so far, or do we have to extend it? If you want results, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it.